Okay, we're back. I'm back. We're going to talk about our flint and steel, or our flint and chert, which is what I started the fire with the other day. And again, you see I carry these. This is an old Altoids tin, and it's been used quite a lot. I carry one of these in my truck, one in my hunting pack. I always keep one in my pocket, my cargo pocket, when I hit the woods, just to have, because you never know. 2 is 1, 1 is none. So inside we have our traditional striker, and you can purchase these online. They're fairly cheap. I've seen them go for as little as 15 bucks, upwards of 50 bucks. I don't know that I would pay that for one of these, but that's what they are. And you can find boxes upon boxes of chert or flint online. I think I got maybe like 10 pounds of flint and chert for like $7 or something. And now I have this giant box of rocks under one of my work tables that I keep just in case. And again, here's that almighty ever useful char cloth. This was one of my kids' school shirts that didn't fit him anymore. It was kind of holey and busted up, so we repurposed it, I believe is what they say. So the idea behind this is that we're going to peel some of the metal off of this steel, this high carbon steel, using the sharp edge of the chert, or the flint. We'll just say flint. And what we're doing is we're trying to peel that steel off, and as it peels off, it oxidizes and it burns, creating heat, and it burns very quickly and very hot. And what we want that to do is we want that to jump onto our basically carbonized material, this char cloth, this charred material. And it doesn't necessarily have to be char cloth. It could be, you know, some really dry grass or cotton or something like that. Maybe some really dry and fluffy plant material, but something that's going to easily take a spark. And what we're going to do is we're just going to lay the edge of the char cloth against the edge of the chert, so that when we come down, when we strike, we're basically peeling those layers off. And we're going to try and make that steel, we're going to make that spark jump onto the cloth. And because it's charred and there's no chemicals left in here, which is essentially what we're doing, is we're removing the chemicals from the material when we make char cloth. I know this is kind of hard to see because the sun's up here, but just bear with me. It should take that spark and it should burn pretty slowly, but it'll keep going. And that's what we need so that we can transfer that to a tinder bundle or whatever we have, okay? So it's kind of hard to... There we go. And you see it starts pretty quickly, and that'll smolder for a while. I don't know if you can see it, but that's going. So and it gets hot. So we set that down and some more of that bark. Let's say we were going to start a fire. We would sandwich that in our bird's nest. Fire hot. There you go. You put that in your fire lay and all that stuff. Try to show you guys how to do a proper fire lay at some point. But that's our flint and steel, which is basically the same as the mesh metal. The difference is this does not burn as hot as this does, and you don't get as many sparks as you do when you're using this. This burns probably, you know, you're going to get a spark, very small spark, probably 700-800 degrees. This you're going to get a shower of sparks. Personally, I always carry both, and these are really my go-tos. Most of the time, these sit in my pack, and you should always go for the simplest form of fire starting first. So, common sense would say, use the lighter, but it's a force of habit. I always go to these first, and it works. That's what it used to do. Tastes like burning. What's another super easy method of starting fire? I'm sure everybody knows the Brillo pad and the battery trick. And the way this works is basically you're creating a simple fuse. How does a fuse work? It's a lot of electricity going through a small conduit creates heat, right? And in the case of automotive fuses, when it's too much heat, the fuse blows, burns out, and it disrupts the circuit. But it works off of heat. If you have, and I don't know what I've got laying around, and we've got some leaves, some sycamore leaves. I don't even have a sycamore tree, but my yard's full of sycamore leaves. Go figure. This is almost instantaneous, and you'll see this is just a 9-volt battery, a little plug over it. As soon as I touch this, it's going to go up, and it'll basically become a little blob of molten metal, which I can then drop into, whatever I'm trying to transport the fire or start the fire with. So I'll just stick it in here from now. So it's just sitting in there. And all I'm going to do is touch it. And let's see if I can do it this way. I guess that would be great, but there you go. And there's our fire. I would be mindful if you're going to use leaves to do it in an area that's not affected too much by wind, because when these burn, they break apart and they blow ashes and embers everywhere, and the last thing that you want to do is get an ember or a burning piece of material flying off in the woods somewhere and setting the whole dang place on fire. So dry grass, tree bark, things like that, probably more ideal for you to use, probably a little safer. Although I guess everything in the wrong hands is dangerous. And also be mindful of your fire lay, where you are, wind, so on and so forth. So yeah, there you go. And let's see what other stuff we got here. See you in a few.